We're looking at approaches to personalize the assets that you use in your portfolio. And in this video, I'm going to look at including animated GIFs. I reckon an animated GIF is a great way to add, very simply, a little bit of multimedia to your presentations. And in this particular instance, we're making a presentation related to a user experience user interface project. So I've got a series of screens that have been designed in XD, and we're kind of packaging those into a GIF for our portfolio. So I'll do that in Photoshop. I reckon Photoshop's a pretty good way to quickly make a GIF. And I'm going to bring my screens into a composition or into a file by using a script, and we'll load our files into a stack. It's just a quick way of getting multiple files into the one document. Try and locate, I've got that stuff. Here we go, these are our 4 screen designs. And we'll go OK. So that'll bring them all together and stack them as layers in the one document. And it'll do it at the kind of the average size of each of those PNG files in this instance. I'm going to make my document, or change the size of my document a little bit. I'll just wait for my computer to catch up. Change the canvas size to something that is more like how I would like to present. What will we do? I reckon we'll try 1600 by 1200, a 3:4 aspect ratio. It might be a little bit big, but we'll see. There we go. No, I reckon that's okay. I'm going to add in a background color using a solid color. Make that a dark grey. And I'm going to select all my screens and just arrange them in a kind of a pseudo 3D kind of way, just by hitting Command T or Edit Free Transform, and then I'm going to right click and start with some rotation. Rotate them like that, and then distort them. If I hold Option down, it kind of symmetrically distorts my layers. So I've got them all selected there. Click OK. And I'm going to move them up a little bit higher. Alright, that's good. I want to get this idea of a stack of screens stacking on top of each other happening. So I'm going to hold Command down and select one of my layers and just make it a solid color underneath it, or in this case it's adding it to the top. I'm going to drop it down to the bottom, change the color of that to white so it sort of sits in our color scheme. And just, oops, I want to make sure I've got Auto Select unselected. With that color fill selected, an option, I'm just dragging it down. So I'm getting this kind of cascade of screens, I suppose. I'm going to hit Command J and duplicate that one, and I think I'll do 4 of these. Command J again. And I've just got Shift down when I'm moving those layers to keep them all straight. Command J again for my final one. It looks pretty good, and for the hell of it, we'll grab all 4 of those layers and space them out equally. It's looking good. Alright, now the final thing to set up the artwork is I'm going to add a drop shadow to all of these elements. So I'll select the top layer, go down to my effects, add in a drop shadow. Make that a little bit bigger, the opacity down. It's looking good. I can right click on that effect and copy the layer style. And I'm going to add that to all of my layers. Paste layer style is what I'm looking for. Cool. So it's looking a bit thick at the top, but in the first frame I don't want all of those screens showing. Let's just shut the effects up so we can see our layers, and I might group all of those. So it's a bit easier to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn each of these layers on and off with about a second delay, and we'll have that looping, and that'll be a nice little addition to the presentation of this interface project. So we'll go back to layer 1 and we'll use the timeline window to create a sense of time in our project. There's this button in the middle of the timeline here that we want to toggle to create frame animation. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to actually click on the button, and that will create a frame animation for us. Now I'm having a little trouble actually getting access to that button as my screen recorder is in the way there. But in our first frame, we're going to set that to a duration of 1 second. We'll start with that. That's frame 1. And then we'll create another frame. And we'll change the layer opacity to our second frame there. And it's remembered the duration. And we'll just go through all of our frames. And so each frame that we've got here on the timeline shows a different frame in our layers palette. And I can play that. And it's honestly probably going a little bit fast for me, so I'm going to stop that and change all of these durations to 2 seconds. Alright, to export our GIF, it's pretty easy. We can go to Export, and I'm going to use the Save for Web Legacy option. So we have some options to alter our GIF preferences. I'm not so worried about file size, so I'm going to just leave the amount of colors as is. And click Save. And on the desktop, give it a name. Click Save. Shouldn't take too long. And then we'll quickly have a look at that asset there. It's a GIF. If I open up a browser window, and drag that into the browser window, we've got a nice little animated asset to include in a portfolio presentation.